Hello everyone, Thempire Ian here with more new cards. Maze of the Millennium? I think is the set name. It's another one of the Maze sets. It's a reprint set with some imports in it, and of course, one new archetype. That is DM Slop. This time it's Odion. That's actually really cool. Odion has the continuous trap stuff and the Beast of Circuit stuff. A lot of really cool stuff going on in there. Temple of the Kings, all that kind of thing. It's neat, and it hasn't really been explored very much. So as far as DM Slop goes, pretty neat. I like it. Let's see what's going on here. Looks like first up we've got the man with the mark. I'm the man with the mark. All right, level 4 Earth spellcaster effect monster, 1,000. So yeah, these are just coming out in the TCG, so they're going to be like this, and it's going to make it a lot harder for me to make a thumbnail. So clap for me in the comments. Be proud of me for making the thumbnail, because it's going to be very annoying to make it. Alright, if this card is normal special summon, you can take one Temple of the Kings mentioned! Or one spell trap that mentions it. It's literally going to be mentioned from your deck, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Interesting. You can use this effect of Man with the Mark once per turn. While you control Temple of the Kings, this card and Apophis monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Okay, so we're doing both Temple of the Kings and Apophis in the one archetype, I guess. Temple of the Kings you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Hey, there's a circuit. There's a circuit guy. He's at Circuit City. Merciless Scorpion of Circuit. Level 6 Earth Fairy. Ooh, Earth Fairy. Wow. 22,000. Cannot be summoned. Cannot be normal summon or set. Must be summoned by banishing a level 10 or higher monster from your hand or deck while you control Temple of the Kings. I assume we're gonna get one of those, and you're not gonna have to play like Ra or something. Maybe Eldritch. You could play Eldritch. That'd be funny. You can only special summon Merciless Scorpion of Circuit once per turn this way. Once per turn during your main phase, you can add one Temple of the Kings or one spell that mentions it from your deck to your hand. Another Searcher. Having 2 Searchers is pretty nice, actually. At the start of the damage step of this card battles an opponent's monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to half the destroyed monster's attack. Alright. And that's not awful. It's a Searcher, and it's a special summon, so it's not awful. Here's Anubis. It's a level 10. There we go. Anubis, the last judge. You know, Anubis, kind of an underserved part of the Egyptian religion in this card game. There's like a couple of Anubis cards here and there. Nice to see another one. I like it. And I like the art on him. He's crazy. At least he's a fiend, but he has the Millennium Eye. So, kind of interesting he's not an illusion. Everyone thought he was going to be an illusion when they saw that, but nope. No illusions here. Actually, not a single one. Fairy, Spellcaster, Fiend. No illusions. Weird. Cannot be normal summon or set. Must first be a special summon from your hand while you have 3 or more cards in your graveyard with different names that are Temple of the Kings or traps. Okay, so that's why we're having the send effect by placing 2 of them on the bottom of the deck in any order. Okay. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, add a man with a mark from your deck to the hand. Okay. So it mentions Temple of the Kings, which means it can be searched by any of these 2. And also it searches man with a mark, which is your starter, like, or your main starter, I guess. Which is neat. So consistency, looks like it's there. It looks like we've got the consistency, which is nice. If a spell trap you control is destroyed by card effect, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. Okay, that's like fine. I mean, just the consistency and the fact it's a big guy you can summon for free, I think is, I guess, enough. And then it has like a little bonus if you get a spell trap destroyed, it lets you plus off of it a little bit more. Sure. Here's a fusion. Divine Serpent Apophis. It's like Divine Serpent Gap, but it's Apophis this time. Uh, Level 6 Earth Reptile Fusion monster, 2800, 2600. 2 monsters that mention Temple of the Kings. Okay, so pretty easy to do, I guess. Must either be fusion summoned or special summoned by attributing 2 Apophis monsters. It does not say first, so that means you cannot special summon this thing from the grave once it hits the grave. Unfortunate. But you can just put it back with Anubis, I guess. That's neat. Once per turn, you can target up to 3 Apophis traps with different names in your graveyard. Set them. Ooh, wow. There's only 2 currently. I imagine there's a 3rd one in this wave of support. Once per turn, if a trap card is activated, except during the damage step, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. Okay, so that gives you like a Labyrinth style plus off of activating a trap. That's nice. It's like worse than Labyrinth though, because Labyrinth also lets you hit their hand. So I don't know. It's pretty easy to make this guy though. Like you just have to get 2 Apophis or 2 Temple of the King monsters, and then you wait. Hold up. No, because that's only if you're fusion summoning, and we don't have a way to fusion summon yet. No, instead you could special summon by attributing 2 Apophis monsters. So you need 2 Apophis guys on field, and we have vanishingly few ways of doing that so far. So there's going to have to be something interesting here. Oh, there's another fusion. Divine Scorpion Beast of Surket. Okay, more divines. Level 6 Earth Fairy Fusion, 3,000, 2,000. A Surket monster plus a monster with 25 or less attack. If this card is special summoned or at the start of the damage step, this card battles an opponent. And there's no way to cheat this out. Huh. Okay, so when it's special summoned or at the start of the damage step, this card battles an opponent's monster. Target a face-up monster opponent controls or in their graveyard. Banish it, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to half the banished monster's original attack. That's cute. That's just it's good graveyard hate, but only on special summon or at the start of the damage step is a little bit annoying as far as actually using it, but at least it does gain the attack from it. You can only use this effect once per turn. You can make a second attack during each battle phase while a level 10 or higher monster is banished. Interesting. So if you've banished a level 10 or higher monster your opponent controls, or in the graveyard, the fact that it is in controls or in graveyard is pretty nice as well. Actually, it gives it a little bit of a not quite Fenrir. It's like not quite Fenrir and not quite graveyard hate. It's interesting, but there's a way to banish that, right? There was something where you were able to. Yeah, here we go. Banish a level 10 or higher monster from your hand or deck. So all you have to do is control Temple of the Kings. And then get the circuit on field, the other circuit on field. So yeah, all right, not too hard. All right, so here's Treasures of the Kings, a field spell. When this card is activated, you can set 1 Apophis trap from your deck. This card's name becomes Temple of the Kings while in the field zone. Okay, so you don't even need to play the old Temple of the Kings. Awesome. Once per turn, if you have 2 or more set cards in your field or a trap is in your graveyard, you can add 1 monster that mentions Temple of the Kings from your deck to the hand. If you can only activate 1 Treasures of the Kings per turn. Cool. Setting an Apophis trap from the deck is nice. A card that is Temple of the Kings but not bad like Temple of the Kings is, I'll take that for sure. And then if you have 2 or more set cards on the field or a trap in your grave, add a monster that mentions Temple of the Kings from deck to hand. It's just more consistency. Real quick, let's take a look at Temple of the Kings. I'm glad Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck's working again, because the search function on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck was broken the other day. When I was trying to edit a video, it was very annoying because I needed to download cards. You can activate 1 trap card to turn into a set. That's actually not bad for this deck, honestly. So maybe you still play Temple of the Kings, like normal Temple of the Kings. You can send a Mystical Beast of the Surket in your monster zone, and this card you control, special summon a monster from your hand deck or fusion monster from your extra deck. Oh, is that the way we're supposed to get the fusion monsters out? And that's why they don't say when this card is fusion summoned, it says when it's special summoned. So you could cheat it out as much as you want. That is funny. I don't know that I want to do that, but it is funny. And that's why the Divine Beast has the banish effect, because that's what Circuit has. It's made it a better version of that. Fine by me. Yeah, it's like decent. It does make me wonder if we'll have a way to fusion. Oh, here it is. Defense of the Temple, normal spell card. Fusion summon 1 Earth fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. I wonder if there's anything interesting you can do with that condition, like that expanded Earth fusion monster. Let's find out real quick. Earth fusion monster. Naturia Exterio. Ooh, the Fossil Warriors might be interesting, actually. Oh, Master of Ham. I don't think there's a flip monster in this deck, but that is very funny. Does this mention Temple of the Kings? Yeah, if you use a monster you control that mentions Temple of the Kings, you can also use face-up monster opponent controls as material. Oh, it's Super Poly? Except, not as good as Super Poly because it doesn't have the extra conditions or the quick effect speed. But that is very funny. If you control Temple of the Kings, you banish this card from your graveyard, add a Dangers of the Divine from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Defense of the Temple once per turn. That is very cool, though. And what was this stuff? Monster with 2,500 or less attack. Okay, and the other one was just 2 Apophises, or 2 monsters that mentioned Temple of the Kings for this fusion material. The Apophis was the tribute material. So this one is not as good as a Super Poly target unless you're in the mirror match, in which case it goes fucking crazy. And this one is just pretty decent. You just can't get the bigger guys with it. But you could also make Quaggar Hercules, right? That's crazy. Some of the Gem Knight stuff. So some of the Ultimate Great Insect. Ancient Gears. Ancient Gears, anyone? Ancient Gears have their own fusion spell. I don't think they need this one. Yeah, I don't think any of these are particularly interesting. I don't think any of them are going to be, because it's just hand or field, so it's not really that crazy. But it is pretty good for what you're doing with Temple of the King stuff. Now we got Dangers of the Divine. This is what we search off of Defense of the Temple. This is a decent sized archetype. Oh my god, there's still more. Quick play spell card. Pay half your life points and tribute 1 monster. Special summon 1 Winged Dragon of Ra from your hand or banishment, ignoring its summoning conditions, and make its attack and defense 4,000, but it cannot attack. Also, during the end phase of the next turn, return it to the hand. Okay. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, choose 1 Winged Dragon around your monster zone. Send all other monsters on the field to the graveyard. You can only use the effects of Danger of the Divine once per turn. I'm not playing this. I get the reference. I'm not playing this. Like, they made this bad on purpose because that's what it does in the anime. It's like bad in the anime when he tries to summon the fake Winged Dragon of Ra. But I'm not playing this. No. There's like better ways to summon Ra. And there's better things to do in this deck than summon Ra. Pay half your life points, tribute a monster, and then summon Winged Dragon of Ra, but you can't do anything with it except for use its removal effect. So it's just like, pay half your life points and tribute a monster to get a non-once per turn removal effect that requires you to pay 1,000 life points. So you get 3 activations of it, essentially. Unless you've taken any damage. I guess it also blocks you. Like it's a blocker for you, I guess. Not good. Not good at all. That's really bad. Verdict of Anubis. Oh, that's funny. It's blowing up the Swordsman of Landstar and the Gearfried. Counter trap. When your opponent activates a spell trap card where you control 3 or more, 3 of more. Thanks, Yu-Gi-Oh! 3 or more other spell traps. Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Okay. Then if you control Temple of the Kings, you can destroy as many monsters your opponent controls as possible, then inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the total attack of those destroyed monsters. This is bad. It's a spell trap negate that requires you to control 3 other spell traps, which I guess is not hard in this deck necessarily, but like, And if you control Temple of the Kings, it's a mirror force, I guess. This seems not particularly good. It's only okay, I guess. Like, if you're playing the deck, you probably play one of this to search, but not much more than that. Apophis the Serpent, another Apophis guy. We got one more Apophis guy to bring us up to a total of 3 Apophises to bring us up to the maximum amount of that other card we were looking at earlier. Kind of weird that there's only one other Apophis. I would think you would want to have like a bit of choice as far as Apophises go, but whatever. Apophis the Serpent. Continuous trap card. Special in this card is a normal monster. Reptile Earth, level 4, attack 1600, defense 1800. It's also still a trap, which is important for stuff like Verdict of Anubis. Then you can set one Apophis trap from your deck, except Apophis the Serpent. It can be activated this turn. Okay, so it gets you. This Apophis is a combo starter. It gets you into another Apophis. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one embodiment of Apophis from your deck to your hand. So it also gets you into more Apophises if it's sent to the graveyard. So it's all about getting you more Apophises. This one doesn't do anything interesting except for get you into more Apophises. You can only use each effect once per turn. Sure. All right. What do we think about this, though? What do we think about all of this? I guess they're fine. There's some cool stuff going on here. Very consistent, I would say. There's like 3 different searches in the deck. I mean, there's more searches than that. One problem, though, is that I don't think any Apophis at all mentions Temple of the Kings. Yeah, Embodiment does not. It's just a fucking normal-ass trap card. Neither does Swamp Deity. Why is Apophis a Swamp Deity? Isn't it supposed to be Egyptian-themed? Ain't no swamps in Egypt, I don't think. There's a lot of water, but not swamp. It's just the one river. So you end up with essentially 2 archetypes, the Temple of the Kings archetype and the Apophis archetype, which is why we have to do like Temple of the Kings and Apophis in this card text here. This guy's like a neat little... this guy's a good starter. You can normal summon him and he searches stuff. Or sends him to the grave to be used as material to summon out Surcat. Surcat's a nice extender. Summons himself by banishing... Well, no, he banishes from hand or deck, so it doesn't need to be in the grave. It's just for the Anubis then. And then once he's summoned, he adds more stuff, so that's nice. And he does a little bit of destruction and gaining attack. Interesting that he gains attack. He attacks an opponent's monster, destroys it, and then gains attack. So he's like not actually doing any battle damage. Or maybe is it a redeclare at that point? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's by that point it's already declared. So you don't get a redeclare unless you do something to special summon another monster, I guess. Anubis is fine. I think what this deck is really missing is like something to do with it. Like, it's got a lot of consistency. These 2 guys give you a lot of consistency, and they have a little bit of power to them. This guy increases the power of your spell traps by protecting them a little bit, like making the opponent go minus if they want to destroy them. And also adds the Man with a Mark, so he gives you additional consistency by being 3 more copies of that, essentially. Apophis can be summoned by Apophis, having 2 Apophises on field, or using the fusion spell with the Temple of the King monsters. But like you're probably not fusion summoning this guy. You're probably special summoning him by the effect of the attributing the Apophis, because then he gets the Apophises from the graveyard back onto the field, and you can use them again. But like, what is that actually doing for you? The Apophis cards aren't good. Like, the new Apophis card gets you into more Apophises. The old Apophis card doesn't do anything. The middle Apophis card does something, but all it does is negate monsters on the field up to the number of other continuous traps you control. So what you have to do is you have to do like Apophis the serpent, embodiment of Apophis the serpent, Apophis the swamp deity. Then you can negate 3 guys on field, right? And I guess this new Apophis is not a continuous trap, so it doesn't apply to that. But it just gives you extra advantage. Like, you get, when you activate those trap cards, you get to pop a card. But you want to activate all 3 of those because, again, the other 2 Apophises don't do anything. So you're not getting the 3 pops off of that. You're getting 1 pop off of it. The very first one you activate, probably. And all of that for one effect that negates 3 monsters on field, right? That's all it's doing. And you have to go like Apophis. Like, you have to run the 3 Apophises in your deck. You have to get all 3 Apophises out of the deck. And then you have to get them all on the field at the same time. And then this guy lets you kind of like reset that and then do it again. But like, that's a lot of setup for one effect that negates 3 monsters on field, up to 3 monsters on field, right? If your opponent doesn't have 3 monsters on field, it's only negating 2, and you don't get to use that 3rd one, right? At least it negates all the monsters on the field, but like, what if they have any removal at all, right? Or like, what if they have any way to dodge that effect? It's a lot of setup for something that's not particularly good. Whereas, like, you could do this, or you could just use Silhouette Rabbit, right? Silhouette Rabbit could do the exact same thing, but without nearly as much setup, just any 2 monsters. Like, what's the point of this? Unless Silhouette Rabbit's going to get banned soon. Which I don't think is the case. Divine Scorpion Servant of Serket is like, Scorpion Beast of Serket is like fine. This guy's like probably the best card in here, because he's almost Fenrir. He's also like a decent super poly target for your not quite super poly. So I think he's neat. I think he's fine. You know what's also an Earth monster is the Earth Adagnister, which I think is a decent super poly target too. So that's actually not a bad one to have in here with your not quite super poly. But wait, why? Well, okay, I was about to say why even play this. It's because it mentions Temple of the King, so you can search it. Otherwise, just play super poly. Like, I think you probably play 1 copy of Defense of the Temple so you can search it, and then just like 3 super poly. Because super poly this is just like worse than super poly. The search doesn't matter because Dangers of the Divine is a terrible card. I'm not playing that, and I'm not playing Ra in this deck. Why would I want that? Divine Scorpion Beast of Serket is like, it is like a worse Fenrir in a lot of ways. But it also hits the graveyard, which is nice, and it's in the extra deck, which means you could just access it at any time. As so long as you can, summon it out somehow. Which it doesn't have a cheat function, so you need to use Defense of the Temple or your or Super Poly or something like that. Temple of the Kings is really nice. It's just more consistency. It gives you more consistency with the Apophis stuff too. So like, I'm not saying you don't play the Apophis stuff. I'm just saying you probably don't want to play as much Apophis stuff as the people who design these cards want you to play, right? Like maybe you play the Serpent because it lets you just set another Apophis trap for the deck and then gets you so it can get you Swamp Deity. But I don't know that you play the... You know what? Actually, you probably do play this one, just because it lets you reset them really easily, and you just use Tribute 2. So you just don't play Embodiment, right? It says up to 3 Apophis traps, so you can play, Serpent and Swamp Deity. Use Serpent to get Swamp Deity. You get Serpent off of Treasure of the Kings. You summon it's really slow though. Like, you set the Swamp Deity and then you wait to next turn to activate it. I mean, I guess it lets you negate them so you can continue playing, but like, oh, that's really slow. That's so slow. Like, there's nothing in here that lets you... Oh, it can be activated this turn. There we go. Okay, never mind. It can be activated this turn. Perfect. Yeah. All right. So that's actually pretty decent. So yeah, Treasure of the Kings, not bad. I like this card. And 2 or more set cards or a trap in the graveyard. I guess that's not exactly going to happen easily. Unless you happen to have another card to set, like you get the Verdict of Anubis. I feel like Verdict of Anubis is a one-of. You will probably reach that condition, and then having a Spell Trap Negate is like fine. Spell Trap Negate, not as good as a Monster Negate, but we take those. This card's dog shit. Yeah, you're not playing this. There's no way you're playing this. It's just a reference. Like, that's all it is. Just get that reference out of the way so you never have to print it again. Yeah, Defense of the Temple is only okay. It's like bad Super Poly, right? That's the thing. Like, everything in this deck is like, oh, this is bad this card. This is bad this card, you know? Why would I play this archetype to just play bad other cards, right? I could just play Fenrir. I could just play Super Poly, right? I could play a deck that wants to Super Poly better than this. Yeah. But, you know, this could be a lot worse, right? This could be a lot worse. I think these cards are fine, right? They're just, like, not great. I could see someone getting a little bit of success with this. I feel like this deck is on par with, like, Millennium. Well, maybe not Millennium. Millennium's, like, so much more consistent than this. But, like, they each have a Spell Trap Negate, which kind of fucks over the other one. Although Spell Trap Negate only fucks over Millennium so much, right? If they have the second Millennium Ankh in hand, you're screwed. But, you know, I think this one could be decently on par with, like, Millennium and Flame Swordsman and basically all these other, like, dog shit DM nostalgia decks, especially the ones that have come out in previous Maze releases. So, like, this is definitely on par with the Flame Swordsman. It's on par with the Gate Guardian. Really cool cards that allow for a modernization of a strategy that basically was non-existent until now. Really fleshes out some of the DM archetypes, but not exactly, like, competitively viable. Potentially has rogue playability, but not much more than that. I saw people, like, excited about these cards because they thought they were going to help Argo Stars. No, it just doesn't help Argo Stars because this has nothing to do with continuous traps, right? It has nothing to do with continuous traps at all, except for the fact that it uses the Apophis stuff. The Apophis stuff is not supporting continuous traps. It is only supporting Apophis because we're trying to make Apophis into an archetype, despite the fact there's only 3 of them in existence. Swamp Deity obviously has a thing about continuous traps, but that's it. And that card already existed. We now have a little bit more access to it, but I don't think that's enough to make this playable with Argo Stars, really. I mean, if you want to play Treasure of the Kings, by all means, I suppose. I guess you could also play Verdict of Anubis. To get a Spell Trap Negate, I guess. I don't know. That seems really bad, though. But yeah, that's Odion's cards. I like I said, they're kind of in line with previous Maze releases. Flame Swordsman, Gate Guardian. It's all like that level of stuff. I think that's fine. It's a little annoying. I would like it to be better. I like cards to be like competitively designed. I like my ideal world, it would be that all the cards are like any new card release is on par with, you know, or like it brings its deck up on par with the current meta, but like that's really hard to design, right? That's really hard to accomplish. But sometimes it feels like with these nostalgia sets, Konami is like aiming for a more middle of the road kind of deal. Where they're trying to make decks that aren't competitively viable, but are more on par with each other. They're like good enough for locals, and they're like on par with each other, so that they kind of, you can have like a Odion versus Ishizu versus Joey. Well, I guess Red Eyes isn't really at that level yet, and really the Ishizu stuff isn't either, because the Ishizu stuff does not work together at all. It only works well with tier limit. I saw a lot of people like worried about these cards because like, oh man, the Ishizu cards were crazy. It's like, well, the Ishizu cards weren't out in a Maze set. They were in that Maidens set. They were OCG first, and then they came over here. So it's just a different setup entirely. But also the Ishizu cards don't like work as a deck, and this is like an attempt to make these cards work as a deck. But yeah, like this stuff, the Flame Swordsman, I guess that's a Joey deck, you know. Although, you know, the new Blue Eyes stuff is like meta viable, right? So like, why does this has always been my thing about Blue Eyes? Why does Blue Eyes get to be playable, like meta relevant playable, whereas these guys have to be like rogue at best, right? That's a thing that annoys me about Blue Eyes specifically, but whatever. Still, these, I like the design, the like some of the ideas behind these cards. I just wish they were slightly more pushed. I think that would have been neat, but it is what it is. I look forward to playing some Gate Guardian versus Odion duels in the future. Let me know what you think of these down below, and I'll see ya in the next one. Bye! Hey there, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I got a lot more for you if you want them. Just hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to get notifications. I'd also appreciate if you left me a like and a comment, and maybe shared the video around with your friends. You can also follow me on all the usual social media sites. Just check out my website in the description below for more info. My videos are funded by my patrons and YouTube members, whose names you'll see scrolling by in these credits here. For just $1 a month, you too can find yourself here, trapped in my end screen for all eternity. In particular, I'd like to thank Haru Hayes, Flea Kill, Frog Prince Michael, the Almighty Ferret Lord, and Fire Mizumi. A big thanks to all my other patrons and to my little community as a whole. Remember to be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and have a wonderful whatever time it is for you. Bye-bye.